Well, I'm so excited to be here with everyone who's here in the audience today, and we appreciate you for coming to elevate women's voices because it's not an easy mission that Women Thrive has tackled. So as Abby mentioned, my name is Gabrielle Hayes, and I'm a product career empowerment expert. I help product professionals find their career alignment fit by matching their personal values to their professional lives. But see, I had to spend years living in misalignment before I was able to help myself find that fit and now be able to help others. I want to tell you a story about a lifelong friend of mine who always reminded me that I could have it all. When I looked at her life, she didn't have a glass ceiling. She was just full of inspiration. She graduated high school a year early. She started college at the age of 17. She was a homeowner before her 20th birthday, married her high school sweetheart, and eventually became a CEO before she turned 30. And when I looked at her life, I thought, oh, she has it all. But I want to tell you the reality. That woman is me. That woman is Gabrielle. And she didn't really have it all. She had it all by society's standards, but she didn't have it all by what she wanted in her life. Because the reality of it, she graduated early because she was seeking everyone's validation. She was a college dropout. She lost that home to foreclosure. That marriage from her high school sweetheart spent 7 years talking about divorce on a regular basis. And this just continued on and on until I woke up one day and I realized I'm not sitting in the backseat of my life anymore. I'm showing up. I'm going to be the director and I'm going to decide how my life is going to go. Because see, for someone like me, I was very type A and I always followed the rules. So I couldn't understand why following all of society's rules left me in this trauma-filled life. So I used that trauma to turn my life around and start showing up in my own rules. And so today I want to share with you the 4 mindset shifts that I used to take control of my life again. And I am going to tell you there will be a quick cheat sheet on Instagram right after this, so you don't even have to break out your pen and paper to keep track of the 4 mindset shifts. But let's do it so that way you don't have to go through the same life-altering trauma I did to shake up your world and wake up. All right. So the first one is the scariest disappointment in my life wasn't going to be letting other people down. It was going to be disappointing myself. I had all these goals that I always wanted to accomplish. I had envisioned being an executive in that fancy corner office that made changes in people's lives for as long as I can remember. But in my limiting beliefs, I believed I had to do that through the corporate route. And so it's the path I set myself on. But I never stopped to check in and see each goal that I was accomplishing was actually making me a more miserable person. I was doing good work in this world and I couldn't realize why I felt this way. It's because I was disappointing myself. I wanted to be going to my kids' events, not just looking at pictures of it. I wanted to spend time connecting with my husband more than just our annual vacation. And I wanted to care for my home and not have to hire out someone else who came in to do their best, but it wasn't my best. I gave up all of that for my corporate career, but I didn't realize it until I hit a point in my life where trauma literally hid me. I'm talking about in my bedroom for 2 weeks straight, not even able to speak to my own children. And it was that moment that I realized enough was enough. If I keep on this path, I'm only going to continue to miss out on more of my life. So it's time I start doing what I want to do and not what society says I want to do. Next, I had to make space for me. And I had to realize that making space for me is actually caring for others, not being selfish. I grew up with a mom who does and has always identified herself as a mom and a grandma. That's her why. It's why she gets up every morning. So when I became a mom at the young age of 20, guess what I thought? That's what a mom was. It's what I had to do. But remember, I also told you I've always envisioned myself being a C-suite executive. And those two things and the way society has them set up don't necessarily go hand in hand. So I spent the first 10 years of my motherhood journey pouring everything I had into being a mom while also trying to build this career outside of the home. And you know what got lost in the shuffle? Me. I had spent years having to recondition my beliefs to recognize the importance of my own alone time so I can show up for everyone else around me. And number 3, I had to accept the worst thing that could happen is I'm going to outgrow current relationships, but I find myself in the process. Much like Michelle, when I started my healing journey, I was all in. I had multiple coaches and different healing modalities and did everything I could to discover me. But there was this nagging feeling of losing people closest to me because I wasn't going to be operating from the same mindset that I had built our relationships on. So I had to come to terms with, one, it's a true possible reality. I may grow out of some of my relationships, including the ones closest to me. And 2, living in my full authentic self and prioritizing memories was worth it for me. No one understood my life when corporate America had my husband and I living on opposite ends of the country. No one understood my life when I bought this glorious suburban home before my 30th birthday. So why do I care if they understand when I'm making choices that make me happy and not following their rules? And finally, your life is an experiment, not an instruction manual. For any of my moms out there, you're already a pro at this. You got this beautiful baby and they send you home and they say, great, you've read a couple books, maybe a couple blogs, gotten some advice from your friends. Now everything else, just go guess and try to figure it out. But you know what? As an adult, our life is still an experiment too. There's not a single playbook out there that's going to guide each and every one of us to our dream ending. So you've got to go through life picking up from people and resources around you, try what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. And everything that you do in between, understand it's learning and it's a lesson. There isn't a failure in it. If you've gained weight after not eating healthy, you can try a new way of eating. If you've had a job that makes you cry every single night, don't put yourself back in that environment again. We put so much pressure on ourselves to always be making the right decision when decisions are all temporary anyway. So today I encourage you, pick just one of these mindset shifts, spend some time with yourself and think about how can you make changes in your life to show up in a new mindset. I promise it's going to help you feel like you're showing up more authentically. And remember, I'll drop the cheat sheet with those 4 on the Highly Inquisitive Instagram here in just a minute. So nice to be with you guys today.